My guest today is Katy Lea Cannon, who is the Executive Director of WorldFest, Houston International Film Festival, one of the longest running independent film festivals in the world and the third oldest in the United States. Now, she is leading the festival into its next chapter, honoring the legacy of the late founder and her father, Hunter Todd, while expanding its impact through filmmaker support, industry programming, and community engagement. Now, in addition to her film festival work, Katy Lea is she's a well-being facilitator and yoga teacher, integrating somatic practices into creative spaces to support sustainable, inspired storytelling. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Executive Director of WorldFest, the Houston International Film Festival, Katy Lea Cannon, to the show. Welcome, Katy Lea.
Ward, I am so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me on and excited to talk about WorldFest.
I know WorldFest is basically upon us,
Yes.
but let's give all of the filmmakers around the world why WorldFest is one of the longest running independent film festivals in the world. So, what has allowed it to endure and stay relevant since 1961?
Well, my dad started it back in 1961, and he was a documentary filmmaker himself. So he was making movies about rockets with what would become NASA at the time. And they were really exciting movies. He entered them in the film festivals, which at the time were all in Europe. And they because they were about space and the moon uh, and human endeavors. And he just fell in love with the community, with the celebration of cinematic arts, and decided it was time to start his own. And his focus had always been on the independent filmmaker, so championing people at the beginning of their careers or helping to get them to that next level. And I think with that at the heart of WorldFest, that's how we keep going. We're fiercely independent, and we get all of our friends together and celebrate the best movies from all around the world and help get those filmmakers the education, contacts, and celebration that they need to get them into their next stage of the career.
Well, your father, Hunter Todd, discovered filmmakers like Steven Spielberg, the Coen brothers early in their careers. How does that spirit of discovery live on today?
Well, I think that's our guiding star. So not only was it Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Ang Lee, the Coen brothers, Roberto Rodriguez, and many more, they won their first award at WorldFest. So we are a discovery festival, and we're always looking for that next wave of talent and how we can uplift and champion the independent filmmaker. Though it's an exciting space to be in and to see what's possible, especially with low budgets and being on the forefront of technology as it comes to the independent filmmaker as well.
Yeah, I think the independent filmmaker is they're visionaries.
Mm.
I meet up and comings. I meet those filmmakers that are seasoned. I've met filmmakers who've done feature films who've never done a short film. Then they decide, well, let me do a short film, and then they fall in love with the genre
Mm.
because it seems to expand their vision and their creativity when you have a confined space and time to work into. And even with WorldFest, well, it brings forth independent features as well as short films and the documentaries.
Exactly. And I think you've touched on what makes it so exciting and creative. Like when you have only 15 minutes or 5 minutes to tell the story, you have to get very specific and intentional. And that can just ignite a different part of your brain and create some really cool work. So I always love the short films. I know they were my father's favorite part of WorldFest. He was the head of the short film jury, and it's one of my favorite ways to experience the festival. We have these fantastic short blocks with different genres ranging from of course, deeply human documentaries to our Oscar short block that we've put together this year, you and me, which I'm really excited about, featuring award winners from BAFTA and Oscar qualifying films, and all of that's happening with because of you. So thank you, Ward, for your support with that.
Well, you're welcome. And I agree with you. And my vision is the same as your father's. I love short films. There's so much a filmmaker can learn.
Mm,
And when I talk to some of these filmmakers, and everybody's dream is maybe you could get qualified or maybe even not nominated for an Oscar. A lot of these filmmakers don't realize that a lot of the nominees every year at the Oscars, that's their first film. So
mm,
yes, if you do it right and fate comes your way, your first film could make it all the way. So I say dream the dream, but the other side of the short film that, we don't see a lot with features, short films can be extremely cinematic, but their
mm.
storytelling can be very metaphorical,
Mm.
where you lose that spirit with certain features because features, they're made for one reason. They're either want to win an award or they're there to make money.
Or they have a long story and they don't know how to cut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me ask you about WorldFest.
Yeah.
How does a film festival this size balance how many features you bring in versus how
Mm.
many short films you bring in?
Mm. Well, that goes a little bit into the process of the behind the scenes of the festival. And so every year we do a call for entries. And this is a competitive international film festival. So we get films submitted from all over the world, different, I think last year we had 74 countries represented through submissions, which is pretty darn cool. And of course, we're in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the world. So we love to celebrate all of the different cultures. When we get those films in, it goes through a jurying process, which you're now very familiar with as well. And thank you for being a part of our jury this year. That was such a treat to have you on board. And each individual film receives a grade on a scale of 1 to 100, which then is presented to our programming team. We aim for over the course of 10 days to have 35 features that we present. And then we have, I think this year, 12 short blocks that we can populate. And it all depends on the length of the shorts. Of course, it's much easier to program if it's a shorter short. We have people calling, say, why didn't my 55 minute short get programmed? And I said, well, how about next year you cut it down to 15? Let's try it again. Because those are precious times. And this year we have 93 short films that we're able to put together. So it's an interesting, one third of what we're doing, if I got the math right, is going to be the features, and then the rest are shorts. But it always fluctuates just because we don't know exactly how long and how we'll build those genre blocks. But we have a great team of programmers who are back with us again this year to make some magic happen for you.
Well, okay, Katie Lee, let me ask you this because I talk to hundreds of independent filmmakers every year. I talk to executive producers, and many of them still today. I have a friend of mine. He's won 6 Oscars, and I
Not too shabby.
said, yeah, 6 Oscars, and I said, and I asked him not, but just a couple of months ago, and I go, does the film festival circuit drive you crazy? He goes, crazy is not even the word. And
Uh-oh.
and so we were kind of laughing about it. So for you and for all, and I have so many filmmakers on the global scale that watch my platform. Can you kind of give us a behind the scenes look how film when films are submitted,
Mhm.
how films are actually chosen and become official selections? Because many of these filmmakers, they feel like they're throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, yeah. It can absolutely feel that way, especially when you're not researching the film festivals and putting together a strategy on how you want to plan your festival run. So I always encourage people to find the festival that aligns with their genre or the feeling. For WorldFest, we love good stories well told, and especially international cultural celebrations. And then we also have a place in our heart for Texas films, and then of course there's the premiere element as well. So a lot of film festivals are chasing the world premiere or the North American premiere to add that level of prestige. So those are things to consider on how you're planning your festival run. Additionally, it is always helpful to reach out to the festival programming team. Build a case for your movie. Let them know, hey, we have some cast and crew that are local Houston folks, or we feature a, a Space Center Houston, or is there a connection that you can display to let the programming team know you've done your research and that you'll be able to get a good crowd and to really coalesce with the festival itself. So I always encourage people to reach out and let folks know. And don't do it the week before the festival. Do it earlier on.
Yeah, months before the
Yeah.
festival, because the submission process for World Fest, when does that normally start?
We start in August. August 15th is our opening date where we start to receive submissions from Film Freeway. And the earlier you start, the better price it is as well. There's the early bird discount. So do that, reach out to us, let us know what your case is for the film. I remember in August, we had a filmmaker who's a local cheesemonger or local to Texas. And he reached out and he was having some uh, he was wondering which category would be the best one for him to be in. So he called the office, we chatted, I got to learn about his journey with cheese, which was fascinating. And he entered, the jury loved it. The programmers thought this is fantastic. And not only are we able to screen his film, but we're also going to have a cheese tasting after the film to celebrate all of your senses. And I think that's just going to be such a cool thing. So it is lovely to reach out early. We have someone, a few people have been emailing and calling and saying, "Oh, is it possible to get a screening this year?" I said, "Honey, we set the we set our schedule back in March. At this point, no, I'm so sorry we're not able to include you, but maybe it's still doing well with the jury. As with our festival, you can still qualify for an award even if we're not able to screen it. And I think that's a cool thing that we do. We want to celebrate your film no matter if we're able to screen it within those 10 days.
Okay, this brings up a great question. So every official selection for World Fest has been watched by someone on the World Fest. Let's just call it the team. So, because a lot of the filmmakers that I've spoken to, some have no clue if their film has ever been viewed,
Yeah.
and some people feel that their application process is chosen through time code.
Mm.
Maybe if the log line sounds great, but for every submission to WorldFest, every film is watched.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a
Wow.
great point to bring up because there are a lot of scam film festivals out there. It's become very easy to throw up a page on Film Freeway or on the internet and say, the first annual backyard barbecue independent film festival, and you've got to do your research. So looking at legacy, looking at who has been an alumni is very important, and then ensuring that people are actually watching it. So we have at least two of our jury members will review your film to make sure that it hits all of the levels that we're looking for: creativity, sound, direction, editing, acting, pacing, and more. And you might have some extra stuff you can add to the conversation around that as well. Because,
Yeah, I had a I had a filmmaker yesterday out of Chicago.
Mm.
and he has this brand new feature film. I loved it, and we had the conversation because he was shocked because I dissected his film to the point to where I brought up elements in the film that were part of the storyline that most of the audience will never even notice. And
Mm.
he was really surprised. He said, "You actually watched the film like at a very deep level." He said, "I've done interviews where they've never even watched the film." And of course, that doesn't surprise me anymore. But
Sure. But
yeah,
how sad. How
because see,
sad.
well, like when I'm watching, because see, like I told a couple of publicists the other day, I said, look, I don't schedule interviews until I watch the film.
Mhm.
I said every film that comes to me, if I even going to consider it, I'm going to watch it. But I'm not just watching it to say I watched it. I'm like you. I'm going to watch the acting. I want to see the cinematography. I want to see how the storyline, works out. Is there the arc? I mean, is there the arc for the short film? Is there the arc for a feature film? I'm going to look at color grading. If
Mhm.
it's a period piece, does the color grading go along with the period piece? And of course, I mean, literally, sometimes I just feel like a surgeon, and I am going to, and I've had filmmakers tell me, they go, you look at stuff that even some of the critics don't even look at. And I
Mm.
go, and at first it was so funny when I started doing it. It was me just watching the film, but I don't watch the film as an audience member. Part of me does, but most of the time I want to watch the film through the eyes of the director to see
Mm.
what he was actually trying to say. And it's like I tell some filmmakers, sometimes there's that one little object. So I had this one the other day. It was so funny because he was stunned because in the first scene of the film, there's this actor and he's wearing this necklace. And I looked and I paused the film and I went, okay, that's one of those necklaces where there's another half, which means somebody has the other half. So where is this storyline going to go? He was
Mhm.
so stunned that I noticed it. He said no one has ever brought that up. But the funny thing is, that necklace was the ending shot of the film.
Mhm.
And nobody
Mhm.
saw it. But you have to look at these little things, but you can only watch films. If you're going to break them down, you got to look at it through the eyes of the director.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful way to interact with film, especially if you're coming at it from, like you said, your perspective as a surgeon, a movie surgeon, Dr. Ward. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have that title too.
Yes. And that's what we also try to bring in how we view with WorldFest. So all of our jury members are have come either through the WorldFest program and they are award winners themselves, or they're folks in the community who really understand what it takes to make a movie and who can get that director's perspective, just like you. So it's
You
so
okay, you bring something up
mm,
and and you're going to know why I brought this up. When it comes to the jury and everybody's watching the films, what do you do if you have a couple of jury members that absolutely did not like a film, and then you have a couple of jury members that go, "Oh, I just love this film." How do you balance out of choosing, okay, is this going to be an official selection or not?
yeah, that's a great point. So whenever we see that big discrepancy, because I think I know which one you're talking about,
Yeah,
and there was a perfect 10 situation, and then there was a score that was not a perfect 10. And so the averaging out uh, would have dropped it below what we consider for programming. However, because because I understand that there are a lot of different ways that people approach film and a lot of different ideas and feelings. Anytime we see that discrepancy, the programmers will come in or the festival staff will say, okay, this needs another watch. And we'll take in all the information. We'll read through the jury notes and then provide our own our own weighted score as well, just to say, you know what, this does need to be shown to the Houston audiences. We do need to elevate this film and celebrate it. So I'm glad you brought that up because
Well,
yes,
well, film is subjective. You know,
it
everybody
is.
has an opinion. It was so funny because I was talking to this filmmaker yesterday, and and Roger Ebert just gave him a glowing review. The New York Times gave him a scathing review. And so you have this wide range of how people view film, but I've also learned something about viewing film.
Mm,
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a filmmaker, if you've ever been a jury member, if you've ever been invited to be a jury member or an official judge at a film festival, let me give you a tiny piece of advice. When you're going to sit down and watch films that you're going to not maybe critique, you're going to watch to see if it should be in the film festival or not, or you're voting because it's, it could be nominated for an award at the festival. Make sure you are in the mood to
mm,
watch film, because sometimes we get caught up in schedules and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm behind, let me blow through these films and
mhm.
and write down and critique or whatever. That's where we end up with discrepancies sometimes, because it's happened to me, and I've sat there and I went, wait a minute, let me back off, let me close this, and then let me come back and rewatch the film and pay attention.
Mm,
So
mm.
it sometimes I feel that when I'm looking and somebody has a different opinion than mine, not that mine's always right, but it's, you have to think about the human element. What was their schedule like? Were they pressed to watch it, or how does that go? So,
Were
ladies and
they
gentlemen, yeah.
were they angry? You know, you and it's so self-aware of you to be able to say, "Wait, I need to take a step back and get into the right mood for watching movies." So I appreciate that. And another point is this year we expanded our jury a lot. So we had only 15 jury members last year watching, propping their eyeballs open and watching way too many movies, but we knew each person's taste and we trusted them deeply. And this year we added some new folks in who we're very excited to welcome, and we're still learning others' tastes. And so we made sure to do some spot checking to make sure that we were in alignment with our jury members on things. And it's been wonderful. It's been so cool to have these extra ambassadors and eyeballs that can help us sort through and help to celebrate the independent filmmakers. So it's exciting and a learning process as well.
It is, and sometimes I laugh because when um, I am pitched films for interviews, and some films I watch and I'm like, did they even watch this film before they made an official selection? Because I'm like, this isn't that great. And
Mm,
so I appreciate you and the team for taking so much time watching these films, grading these films, and then choosing the official selections. Because, like you said, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be proactive if you're going into the film festival circuit with your film. Like Katie Lee said, contact the film festival. Okay. Don't just be throwing spaghetti. This is strategy. Okay. So I always tell filmmakers, if you're going to play the game, then play the game, because you want eyeballs on your film. Because it's
mm,
not just the eyeballs seeing your film. You never know. The right person at a film festival sees your film, could open up a brand new career for you.
mm.
So give it all you got. But Katie, we got to let people know one thing when it comes to World Fest.
All right,
And
let's
it,
tell them, Ward.
and I was even surprised, to tell you the truth. So World Fest is the third oldest film festival in the United States, behind San Francisco and New York,
Mhm.
which I heard from you. And 59th year. Next year's the big 6-0 for World Fest. But Houston, Texas Here we are in the middle of the United States. Most people pay no attention to Houston. It is technically the fourth, fifth largest city in the country, but it is one of the most diverse cities in the world. But a lot of people don't know that Houston, Texas has more languages spoken than any other city in the country. That includes LA, Chicago, and New York.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that amazing? I
It's
love Houston.
well, here's we have we're tech. We could be almost more tech than Austin. We have the biggest medical center in the country, which also goes to the diversity. So
Mhm.
being being number one in diversity in the United States, how does that shape the films and the voices that we see at WorldFest?
Well, I love that you're bringing this up, and I love Houston. I think it's a wonderful city. Our film festival offices are very close to Chinatown, so we'll go over and just sample all the delights during lunch. And I've had the distinct pleasure not only of being born and raised here, but also being born and raised within WorldFest. And I do think that seeing these incredible movies from all of these countries has given me a perspective on humanity and how the world works and how connected we are. And at the end of the day, we're all humans who just want to tell our stories. So I think it's so neat to see that reflected in our programming. This year we have 22 countries that we're representing, and three are new for us: Montenegro, Cambodia, and Guatemala. And I'm really excited that we get to showcase films and the beauty of those countries within our programming. And of course, we have our usual folks. We have a wonderful selection from Mexico and Italy, Nepal, China. We have a special focus on Taiwanese cinema, which I think is a very cool element to learn about. We have a great package from South Korea, which I'm very excited about, even a special Korean short film block, which will be cool. But all of that is kind of a focus on Houston, on what incredible people are in Houston, on the cultures that we have here, and how we are reflecting that within our festival and shining a showcase on world cinema. And it's just so exciting. It's so exciting to see a room full of Filipino or Nigerian folks who get to see their movies and their stories on the silver screen and come together in celebration. And it's not that, if you're not Nigerian, you can't come and see the movie. Come and enjoy and experience and get to explore a different perspective of life and a different way of interacting. I think that's how we come together as humans and just enjoy being on this planet together. Yeah.
Well, because it's the Houston International Film Festival, and we've shown the audience that Houston, Texas is the most diverse city in the United States. How does WorldFest also focus on the local Houston filmmaker and Texas-based filmmakers as well? Because Texas is becoming a very major player in the film world, in a way, probably thanks to Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really exciting things happening in Texas and in Houston specifically. We had the SB 22 bill passed, which provides incentives for filming here in Texas. And then Houston has an additional 10% that you can get back on top of that. So, and that's all within the past year. That went into effect in September of 2025. So this is a huge deal for what's happening here in Texas. And at WorldFest, we love to celebrate our local filmmakers as well. And it's interesting, we have this international focus, but we're also hyper locally focused. And we do have within our programming, we like to have, especially within the short films, Houston represented, and we try to have a Houston film within each short block just to help to elevate Houston's landscape, which is growing in a beautiful way, and to showcase what is happening here because there's some really cool stuff. We also have partnerships with Captive Studios this year to showcase their incredible soundstage and VR wall, which is the biggest in Houston. We'll have a mixer there, which we're very excited about, and they're doing a podcast activation for us on site, so that'll be fun. But we invite our local folks to come out and especially to be a part of the educational arm of WorldFest. So, over the course of 10 days, we have seminars, panels, workshops, and then, of course, some wellness activations too, which take care of the full filmmaker. So, things like how to make your movie and pay for it, or responsible use of AI. We have a producers roundtable this year, which is new, where you can come and sit down in an intimate setting with a producer and ask your hard-hitting questions. And these seminars, they're free for students. So if you register ahead of time, it's free. And it's very economical for filmmakers as well. It's $20 for a seminar. So we invite our local folks to come and be a part of this and interact with these filmmakers from all over the world, because to your point, you never know who you're talking to and how it may advance your career. We've had some incredible projects start here. Even some marriages started at WorldFest. Happy marriages, which we're proud to say. So come on down and enjoy a wonderful festival.
Yeah, because here, networking is vitally important.
Mhm.
I know when I talk to publicists, I talk to those in the areas of promotions and marketing, I get their side of the story. But when it comes to the filmmaker, you know, we encourage the filmmaker to really get in to talking with a lot of different people that are at the festival because, like you said, you never ever know who you're talking to. And that's happened to me hundreds of times when it comes to film people. You
Mhm.
never know, and all of a sudden you're like, you did what? you know, what project were you part of? And then it's funny because I've seen filmmakers to where you meet a producer. Maybe you've got an ongoing script. They want to see the script because they saw your film at the festival.
Mm.
And every filmmaker is always working on something else in the midst of what they've already finished. So you may end up with a producer on your next project. You may end up finding a director. You may find a colorist, a new
Mhm.
cinematographer, because all of these people come to WorldFest.
Yeah. Or actors as well. I know we
Actors
had
too.
someone cast from I think she was singing, she just maybe singing in one of the seminars off to the side, a child actress, and someone heard her and thought, oh my gosh, she has to be in my next movie. And then that's happening. So a really cool opportunity for all. And I wanted to speak to something that you mentioned, just all of the networking, how important that is at the festival. Yes, and it's really draining. That's a lot, especially 10 days. So, something that I'm so proud of that we have implemented this year is our WorldFest wellness offerings. And these are our way to help filmmakers to get some ease, to get some rest, to have a moment where you can reset, recalibrate, sit in silence. And we have our filmmaker lounge, which will be a place where you can go and escape the hoi polloi. And we also have these activations, which will have meditation, yoga, sound baths. A Reiki master is coming. So, all of those are offerings for our filmmakers as well, because it is so important that if you're a creative, you learn how to protect your energy and how to build a sustainable life around producing your creative work. As we need more stories, we need more of the beauty that you're creating in this world. So please take care of yourself. And we're offering some tools for that as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because, and I make this joke every year with filmmakers. The number one topic's always grief. The second one's probably depression. Um, And I have a friend of mine who's an Academy member, and one day she emailed me and she says, "Ward, I've got a question." And I go, "What's that?" She goes, "What is wrong with all of these young filmmakers?" And I went, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Their films are really dark." She goes, "Is there something wrong?" And and then I kind of laughed about it, and I said, "Well, it just comes with the territory." But here's something that you bring up because self-care for the filmmaker is vitally important. When Oscar season starts, and Oscar season starts technically October 1st, what I have found out with filmmakers, if they're in the campaigning mode, they always ask me the same questions every year. And my first answer to them is you better protect your mental health
Mm,
because
yeah.
you get caught up in the hype. You get caught up in press clippings and all of that. But at the same time, I've talked to filmmakers who are like, I've only been accepted to one film festival, or they're not getting the response that they're looking for, and so it plays on their mind like, is my film not that great? So they start second guess their creativity and their vision. What do you say to those people?
Whew. Well, come on out for a yoga session.
That'll
I,
work.
that'll work. I think it's so important to remember why you're doing this. Like, you have that vision, you have that innate creativity, you've made something. And that's huge. Like, how many people in this life have not created what they're visioning? And as a filmmaker, you are doing just that. So, first of all, I have such deep admiration for people who are able to bring anything to life, any script, short, feature. Wow, that is incredible. So, first of all, take a step back and sit with that and acknowledge what you have done. And the rest is politics. The rest is playing the game and making sure that you can provide yourself with enough ease and spaciousness to keep creating, to keep sharing your story, because we need you. The world needs you. We need authentic stories, especially in this age of AI. We need the human element more and more. So please keep creating and don't let the motherfuckers get you down.
I love that. And it is so true because, you know, uh, people get caught up with the whole film festival thing, and that's what we're here to talk about because it is a positive experience, believe it or not, and for a million reasons. But, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're a filmmaker and you watch this platform of mine, just remember something. Of course, we had a tie in the best live action short category at the Oscars this year. Only the seventh time a tie has ever happened. And they recounted the votes 17 times to make sure it was a tie. And so one of the films that won, so it was only their second film they've ever done.
Mm.
They were one of the winners in the category. They weren't even selected for a film festival after 8 months. Finally got to become an official selection, which kind of got the ball rolling. On
Mhm.
top of that, their film is 36 minutes long, and they won an Oscar. So don't get down if you feel your film was too long. Don't get down if it took months to finally get selected,
Mhm.
because in the end, you never know. You could be going home with a golden statuette.
There you go. That's a beautiful story. And I think it's also important to look at the festivals that you're entering. Maybe starting with a regional festival instead of, the top. Oh, I'm submitting to Sundance, which gets how many per year? I mean, it's
Oh,
an
well,
insane.
okay. Let me give you a perspective. And ladies and gentlemen, this may actually shock you. Now, Sundance is different. It's
It is
really different because
different.
it's really a buyer sellers type festival.
Mhm.
Now, Holly Shorts is in August, and I'm going to talk about the Hollywood version because that's their main one. They average around 7,000 submissions, and I think maybe 400 are chosen. Then we have Tribeca, which is in June. That's in New York. Last year alone, they had 15,000 submissions. Now, from my perspective, nobody sat around watching 15,000 films. So, how they choose their films, I do not know. But out of the 15,000, I think the estimated guess was probably 2,000 were chosen. But Tribeca is also a buyer seller's situation for major studios. But then look at Cannes. Cannes is so strict. You do not submit to Cannes through Film Freeway. You need to submit to Cannes independently because
Mm,
short films at Cannes have to be under 15 minutes. That is a very strict rule. But then the studios play that game. You know, 2 years ago, only one American short film was selected at Cannes. So it's a
mm,
tough deal. But if you get that golden ticket, that just being selected at Cannes can open up the door for your film for the rest of the year at major festivals because you got a marketing you got some marketing behind you now. And
mm.
so many elements they all come into play, don't they, Katie?
They really do. They really do. So look into your backyard, look into what's local, look into what's regional, and also apply for the golden ticket, but kind of diversify your festival portfolio and see what festivals might be in alignment with your vision as well. If you're fiercely independent, come to WorldFest.
Well,
If you're
yeah.
look, Mhm.
Well, I've also been told that filmmakers can contact a festival and literally just ask them, what type of films are you looking for? Which helps
Yeah.
the filmmaker to understand who they need to be submitting to, correct?
Mhm. Yeah, and a lot of that will be outlined in the call for entries, what they're looking for. But absolutely, I mean, reaching out to the festival, to the programming team, it not only puts your name in front of them, but shows that you really care about your film. Like, we are always astonished when we've chosen a film to be screened, and then we don't hear back from them. Like, what's going there are 3. There are 3 that we selected this year that just they're not checking their emails or and we're thinking, "You cared enough to submit it, care enough to follow through." So,
Yeah.
it communication is important, start early, get in front of the festival, and, yeah, reach out and see, what is it that y'all are looking for?" And sometimes festivals have specific themes that year that they're speaking to. We usually our theme is a good story well told, discovery, premieres, international. That's all of our guiding star. But sometimes there's specific like um, different theme. I can't think of anyone right now, but
Well, yeah, and yeah, I mean, WorldFest is such a very large festival. So, yeah, I know you brought up some opportunities already, but what opportunities exist for the emerging filmmakers at WorldFest that they may not find elsewhere?
mm, let's see. Well, certainly the educational space. And we're very excited this year that Memorial City Mall has donated 3 storefronts to us for use leading up to and during the festival. So we were able to expand our seminar offerings from 3 days in a hotel ballroom to 10 days. And we are covering it all the art of still photography and why you need that for your film. We have screenplay, like how to really mold your screenplay in the right way. We have other offerings. I mentioned the AI and the producers roundtable, which I think is going to be really cool. But all of these opportunities are ways where you can come and connect with and talk to and rub shoulders with filmmakers, producers, people who could help you in that next area of your career. So I really do encourage you, if you are a filmmaker, if you can come to Houston, please join us and see some of those great offerings on tap. It's a lot of fun, and we're a very friendly, accessible festival. So you don't have to be highfalutin. You don't have to have your nose up. Like, we welcome you, and we pick up the phone. You know, we're not always in the office, so we don't always pick up the phone, but we'll pick up the phone and chat with you, and we like that opportunity to connect with the people who are out there creating and making this next wave of stories.
Well, that's that Texas hospitality.
That's right. Yeehaw.
Well, WorldFest has always been about discovery. So, how are you evolving that mission for a new generation of storytellers?
Hmm. Well, last year we had our very first vertical format screening, which was pretty cool. And I think it may have been the first of any festival circuit. We had a filmmaker, Sebastian Baz from Argentina, came out and presented his film, and that was pretty darn cool. So we've been around for 59 years. We're always figuring out how we can stay relevant and how we can stay serving our filmmakers, because that's what this is. This festival is an act of service for our independent filmmakers, to provide a platform to celebrate them, to bring them together, and to provide education and support for them. So we're continuing with that mission and vision that my father had, but we're trying to make it even more community oriented and accessible and sustainable for folks. As we build out, we have some big ideas for our 60th. We have a few projects that we're working on to elevate WorldFest even further, but it's such a wonderful space to be in, and like we said, we have that Texas hospitality. So come down and enjoy our films and revel in this element of discovery. And some of these movies you may not have a chance to see again, and they'll stay with you. We had
Oh, it's true.
mhm, it is true. We had a a fellow come by the office a couple weeks ago, and he had moved to Houston in the 80s and went to our festival back then. It was at the Greenway theaters. And he said, "Can I please come and look at the program books, because there's one movie that just it sticks to with me to this day, and I need to know more about it. Like I want to be able to see it again." And so he came and he looked through the 88, 89 program books, and oh, that's it. Oh my gosh. And what a beautiful walk down memory lane, and to have those moments that stay with you for your life. Like it can really change your perspective and open you up in a beautiful way. So I love it. I think film is one of the ultimate art forms, and just can provide so much joy and expansion and perspective shifting. So I
Yeah,
hope you'll
I remember going to the midnight showings at Greenway, and you would watch all the foreign films. So I got used to watching, or I should say, reading
yeah.
subtitles. And if I remember correctly, I think I saw one of my favorite films, which was the original German Das Boot, not the remake, which was crap, but the original in full blown German. And you got a whole new perspective of the war from the other side. It's one of the greatest films, but I saw it at Greenway. And I will always remember, we were like, yeah, let's go see what's showing at midnight. And so those were fun times. And it's great to hear that someone remembers, because I tell my filmmakers every year there's about 3 to 5 short films that I will always remember for the rest of my life, because they have such a very strong impact. So next year is the
Yeah.
60th anniversary of WorldFest. So what would you say to a filmmaker who's on the fence about submitting their film for next year?
Jump off that fence. The 60th, it is going to be a total celebration of cinema. And we have so many wonderful things in the works. So I really do hope that you'll join us for that. Um, and this is a place where your work will be taken seriously. Like we've been talking about, you will have true award winning filmmakers, people who love movies, actually watch your film and spend time with it, and then provide feedback. Like something that not a lot of people know is that we do offer the feedback if asked for. Sometimes it can be a little, sometimes I'll soften it a little bit, but that can be so valuable to the filmmakers as well. There
Oh,
will be,
very, yeah, very much so. Yeah, take, I would just say take it as, if there is, just take it as constructive criticism, you
yes.
know, and because we also, both of us, we see films all the time that it's really a learning experience for the filmmaker.
Hmm.
Some
Yeah.
people get it right the first time, some people don't.
Absolutely. Yes, and it's all learning, and that's part of what festivals are too, is seeing your work and how it's received by people, how it performs in a theater, and I think that's just such a cool opportunity for folks. So you don't have to be perfect. In fact, share your work with us. We're looking for original voices and for the authentic storytelling behind it, and we can't wait to celebrate you at the 60th.
So, looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of WorldFest and its role in the global film community?
Woo! Well, already we have some beautiful partnerships across the world where we're helping to elevate different country cinemas and celebrate them. So we're going to be expanding even more in that arena. And I want this to be not just a festival, but a year round community home for creatives, which offers tools for you to keep creating in a sustainable way, and where you can come connect and just be with like-minded people who want to make the world a better place through film, which I think at the end of the day that's what we're trying to do here. And then of course we're keeping the legacy going of Hunter, the filmmaker first ethos that he created, but we have a few things up our sleeves. We're working very diligently to hopefully get our Oscar qualifying status. We have a path forward with that, and we're very excited to get WorldFest to the next level in that regard. And then partnering with Houston as a city to ensure that we are making this festival the best festival and the one that Houston deserves. So a lot of cool things ahead, and I'm also open to any ideas. Like Ward, I know you have some great ideas on what's possible. We're getting through this one, but we're also visioning for an incredible moment ahead. Next year is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree because I know the 60th is coming. There's big things coming, and WorldFest is, well, it's like you told me before, where the pandemic overall hurt a lot of festivals,
Mm,
and some festivals felt like they had to start over again, trying to get the foundation again. And some festivals didn't have that problem because like you said, they're the top of the food chain. But see, Houston, Texas is at the top of the food chain in film.
mm,
Like you said, you have 22 countries represented. Last year there were 74 countries represented, and film is a global industry. It's not Hollywood anymore. It's global. Now we have, here's the United States. I think out of 50 states here, there are 28 states that offer tax incentives for filmmakers. So Hollywood has now gone across half the United States. Texas is, I forgot, what is the tax incentive here now? Is it 1.5 billion?
I know you can get up to 34% back on your film, and then additional 10% on top of that in Houston. There are some tiers, and we actually have the Houston Film Commission Executive Director Alfred Cervantes coming to do a filmmaker brunch with us during the festival to talk even more about the incentives and how you can work within Houston. So that'll be another great offering for our filmmakers, not only the Houstonians, but the people who are coming in, because why not? Why not make a movie here? There's lots of opportunity.
There's a lot of opportunity in Texas, a lot of opportunity in Houston. And but yeah, World Fest, well, 59th year. So, for all of you filmmakers out there, I encourage you to submit your films to WorldFest, the Houston International Film Festival, later this year. I believe Katy just said, starting August 15th, 2026. Of course, there's multiple dates after that for submissions as well. But if you want to be the early bird, August 15th of this year, you want to submit. And it's this year's festival runs from April 24th to May 3rd, 2026 at Memorial City Mall at Cinemark. She said that we also have 3 storefronts available for seminars and a lot of other activities. And again, so many films, even the retrospective Oscar block that Katy and I put together, a great night to show indie filmmakers that you can reach the Oscars even with your very first film. And there will be seminars, panels, plenty of networking as Houston and Texas again is becoming one of the most sought after locations for filmmaking with incredible tax incentives for both independents and studios. And Katy, thank you so much for sharing the vision of WorldFest. And I am looking forward to an incredible week of festival fun. And then to start work on the 60th WorldFest coming up in 2027.
Oh boy, yes, so many good things ahead. Thank you, Ward. I will be taking a long nap after the festival, but then you're right back at it to make our dreams and the filmmakers' dreams come true.
Oh, that's it. Hey, big things happen in Texas because that's how we do things here. And that includes WorldFest, the Houston International Film Festival. We both invite you to come to WorldFest April 24th through May 3rd of 2026 this year. So please come. We want to meet you. We want to talk with you. We want to hear your visions. Hopefully, we get to see it on the silver screen. And you never know, you may win one of the Emmy Awards. And oh, I want to ask you, Katy, real quick, is
Yes.
there a Hunter Todd Legacy Award?
There is the Hunter Todd Legacy Fund that people are welcome to contribute to as we build up to the Legacy Award, hopefully launching for the 60th. I think that'll be a really beautiful tie in there.
And I also want to let all of you out there know WorldFest is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So, advertisers and sponsors jump on board because that's an extra incentive just for you and to be a part of one of the largest communities in the country, WorldFest Houston International Film Festival. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can watch or listen to all of the Bond on Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime Show, our YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, and more. And more importantly, Katy, is it worldfest.org?
Sure is, Ward.
All right,
WorldFest.
we're gonna have that at the bottom of your screen. So worldfest.org. Please go to the website, check it out. Any last words?
I just want to say thank you. And to all you creatives out there, please keep making movies, keep on going. The world needs you, even if it's grief, but especially if it's laughter.
Amen to that. And I've even had more horror comedy this year, which was actually a relief to see and to watch. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll do it a little bit different this time. And remember, you'll either see us at the movies or from the red carpet.